If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
Hello, book lovers. Welcome to Must Love Books. Hello and welcome back to Must Love Books podcast. Today I'm here celebrating a very special Star Wars holiday with Blue Milk Drinker, also known as Tyler D. Martin. Today is Life Day.
Hello there.
Hello there.
And happy Life Day.
Happy Life Day. So we are here for Life Day, obviously, but we're going to keep it bookish and talk about a Star Wars Legends series, the Black Fleet Crisis Trilogy.
Michael P. Kube-McDowell.
Excellent, excellent. This trilogy was published between 1993 and 1995, so it predates a lot of the Star Wars content in the actual cinematic universe.
I would like to point out that it predicts a lot of the content seen in the modern Star Wars cinematic universe.
So first, let's start off with a little bit about Life Day for any of our listeners who have no idea what we're talking about. Tyler, go ahead and take it away.
So Life Day comes from the 1978 made-for-TV Star Wars Holiday Special, which aired, of course, on November 17th, 1978. And it is so horrendous. It is so horrible. George Lucas had almost nothing to do with it. He provided some notes on Wookiee culture and said, go on, make something. I'm busy. And they made something, definitely. George Lucas honestly wishes that he could hunt down and smash every single bootleg copy with a hammer. It is a weird acid trip. There's a Grandpa Wookiee does some unspeakable things in the living room. It's a wild, horrendous trip, and yet for some reason, there's a small bit of charm to it that has us coming back year after year to watch those bootlegs and just have a wild time and a huge laugh and eat some good food around the Life Day tree, wearing our red Snuggies and our Chewbacca masks.
At least some of us do. I don't know if everyone actually really does that.
Everyone does that, all right? Everyone I follow on Twitter does that. It's prerequisite for me to follow you. Do you celebrate Life Day? No! Block.
So we have done Life Day celebrations on our own for a few years on and off, depending on availability, where we pick recipes from the various Star Wars cookbooks and we watch one of the Life Day specials because there are now options. We don't have to watch the 1970s atrocity.
There is technically 3 Life Day specials now.
And you know what? The Lego ones are just superior.
Honestly, so good.
They're a lot of fun. So we're able to, branch out a little bit. How many years did it take us to actually get all the way through the holiday special in one sitting?
So what's really great about that is I watched a little over half of it, and then you kind of watched it without me and finished it before I ever even saw the ending.
Yes, I did actually watch the whole thing before you, despite you starting it many, many times over the years.
I started it 3 times before I actually watched it all the way through. B. Arthur's bit, though, is fantastic. B. Arthur's little cabaret song where she's trying to get all the monsters to leave the cantina. That is actually the best part of the entire special. And you know what? I would be satisfied just watching that bit every year and just that bit alone.
That bit, but also Leia's song at the end.
Yeah, where she goes to the, Wookiee celebration and makes the whole day about her instead. And humans blames to the Wookiees their own holiday.
Well, I think she's just really explaining it to us as the listeners because no one actually translates most of what the Wookiees say in this movie. So she just kind of wraps it up like, in case you made it through this whole movie and have no idea what's going on and what these people are celebrating, let me just sit down and explain all of it to you
In song.
in song.
Let's just be glad the Wookiees were not singing the whole show, all right? You got the
Yes.
Jefferson Starships, you had.
Dionne Warwick?
Yeah, was that her?
I think so.
So there was like a couple of songs throughout, but like nothing explaining what was happening. So we should just be glad, the Wookiees weren't singing, you know?
Yeah. What else do you need to know about Life Day?
You gotta know the characters. You gotta know, it's Chewbacca is going home for Life Day, all right? So you need to have some plot here. Chewbacca's going home for Life Day because he never misses Life Day. And his wife, Mala, or Mulatto Buck, is at home with their son, and the grandpa, Itchy Baka. All right. So they're all at home and they're waiting for Chewbacca to come. And, there's some hijinks going on. Some Imperials show up. There's a shopkeep who keeps checking in on them and whatnot. But you got to know those characters. You got to know Lumpy. You got to know Mala. All right. That's super important for the Black Fleet Crisis.
So, and that will bring us into our next point. Let's talk about the Black Fleet Crisis. Go ahead and start us off with a little bit about what the trilogy is on, and then we'll dive in deeper.
So the trilogy is there's a crisis. A Black Fleet has emerged.
You don't say.
I do say. Leia is struggling in the political arena. Luke is going through his own personal stuff. Chewbacca is away because, he's got to go visit Lumpy. There's some situation going on there. Lando has managed to kidnap R2 and 3PO and go off on his whole separate adventure completely unrelated to the plot.
Just got to give Lando something to do sometimes.
Like, what are you doing, Lando? The galaxy's in turmoil. I think I'm gonna go and kidnap some droids and a cyborg and check out this weird spaceship that keeps popping up everywhere. Cool, you do that. We're gonna start with Leia, all right? There is some big political politics happening, basically. Political politics. There's still the Imperial remnant, but it's becoming less of a threat. And there's a lot of planets that are wanting to join in the New Republic. Some of them are small backwater planets, some small colony planets, some are previously Imperial planets. And you know how the Senate is. Like, why should we allow this planet in? Why should we allow that planet in? Blah, 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 blah. And one group that wants to join is the Yavethans. And the capital of Yavatha is in Zoth. That's an N-Zoth. And it's ruled by this dude named Nilspar. Basically, the Yavethans are like, we want to join the Republic. But we don't want the responsibility of joining the Republic. And this is like it's a facade to the readers. They know what's happening here. Nilspar is not a good guy. But he's doing all these long, lengthy negotiations with Leia. And it is testing her patience. And she is pushed to, the brink. And she has all this other stuff going on. And she is trying to secure a deal with Nilspar. And it's just not going well at all. And Nilspar decides, you know what? The Yavethans, we don't like this deal we're working out. We're going to leave Coruscant and go back home. The issue with this is while trying to leave, he gets stuck in traffic on Coruscant and decides, fuck it, I'm just going to... Wait, can I say that?
Yes.
All right, so he just says, fuck it, screw it. He starts swerving through traffic. He hits a diplomatic shuttle. That explodes. People die. He goes home. So the Yavethan sphere is the entirety of a cluster of stars and planets called the Coronach Cluster. And their government is called the Duskin League. And they say all these planets in the Coronach Cluster are theirs. Doesn't matter if there's colonies, other settlements, Imperial Republic, whatnot. He claims it as all belonging to him and his area, and it starts coming to very increased tensions. It's not looking good for Leia. Now she has this Bothan named Borsk Freya, or Freyla, who is trying to unseat her as president. You got this one politician who's all like, well, why does Alderaan control the entire New Republic when I oversee billions across multiple planets? Alderaan? Really? Alderaan? It's a whole huge political mess for Leia.
So, at what point does the Black Fleet Crisis take place in the grand scheme of the Star Wars universe, the Star Wars timeline?
It's about 8 to 10 years after Return of the Jedi. They've already dealt with Thrawn. Luke's already turned to the dark side and said, "Oh, sorry about that. I'm good." Luke's already started his Jedi Academy and defeated the ghost of Exar Kun on Yavin 4. So it's about, a few years after that, like Jason and Jaina are, I want to say toddlers growing up a little bit. Anakin is Admiral Akbar's little fish. That's what Admiral Akbar refers to Anakin as, his little fish. It's so cute. Anakin swimming in the pool, and Akbar's just like, "Look at my little fish." It's so
Anakin
cute. It's so adorable.
Anakin Solo was such a sweet little baby,
He
and
was.
and nothing bad ever happened to him.
No, definitely nothing bad ever happened to Anakin Solo.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
And of course, none of this is actually canon anymore.
No, none of this is actually canon anymore.
It does, as you mentioned earlier, predict some of the things that we have seen in more recent movies. So go ahead, let's dive into that.
So, as everything is going on with Leia, she tries reaching out to Luke, and she's not actually sure where Luke is. Han knows where Luke is. And at one point, she sends Han to go and try to get Luke to help. But you know what? Let me put it this way. I want you to imagine a scenario where Luke feels like he has failed. He's failed as a teacher, he's failed as a Jedi. And his response to this failure is, instead of searching inside himself, seeing how he could do better, how he could learn from his mistakes, is he finds a seaside cavern. He cuts himself off from the Force. He sits there to just be alone. He ignores his sister's cries for help. He doesn't do anything. He's just wasting away until a young, Force-sensitive woman shows up at his door asking for help. What does this sound like to you?
Literally the plot of the new Star Wars trilogy.
Oh, it's the plot of the Black Fleet Crisis. It is the literal plot of the Black Fleet Crisis. Yes, it sounds exactly like the new movies, but it happened here first, in the 90s.
In the 90s, so even
In the
before
90s.
even before the prequels were released.
Before the prequels were even officially being worked on.
Yes. So although the Legends books are not canon, there is a lot of material that the newer stories have pulled from.
Absolutely. There are skills that Luke learns in this book that he will use about 25 years later against Jason, but that he pulls the same exact move in The Last Jedi.
All right, so you do have a lot on here on the plot. Luke Skywalker is a gender fluid crossdresser.
Luke Skywalker is a gender fluid crossdresser. Do we want to get into Luke's story now?
Yes.
All right, so while Leia is dealing with all the political shit that's going on and the starting of a war, Luke, again, as I've said, has been hiding in this cave until a young woman shows up asking for help. Now, this young woman is named Akana, and she is from a tribe of Force-sensitive users known as the Falanasi. And the Falanasi, they're like semi-nomadic, and they're very much we don't fight, we don't kill. That's an abomination. It's an abomination to the current. That's what they call the Force, is the current. And they're a group of people who are always in hiding. And Akana has been separated from the Falanasi for years. And she needs help finding them again so she can get home. So she goes to Luke and she, knocks on his door and says, "Hey, how you doing? Hiding alone in your cave, cut off from the Force. Did you know that your mother is named Nashira and she lives with the Falanasi and is a member of the tribe, and that makes you a member of the tribe? So you should come home with me?"
Did you know this?
I did not know this. Luke did not know this. Nobody knew this. Did you know that Luke's mother is Nashira of the Falanasi?
Nope. I'm pretty sure that's not accurate.
Luke-
This was before the prequels as well.
But you're also assuming that in book 1, Akana is being honest.
Which I'm sure she's not.
No. Spoiler alert for a 33, 34, 30-year-old book? No. So Luke finally gets out of his slump, out of his cave, and he goes, "Hey, Leia, I know you got a lot of stuff going on right now, but you want to help me find our mother?" And Leia has "Excuse me, what? My mother is Brea Organa. My father is Bail Organa. Anything else I do not care about. And Luke's like, oh, come on, but it's her mom. We can find her mom. We can find her mom. And Leia's like, Luke, shut the fuck up.
Oh, does she sing it just like that?
I mean, she talked about a guy named Farble Wumble at some point, so if she sang it, I would not be surprised. But you know what? So Luke goes off with this Akana girl, and they're hopping planets and they're finding clues from Lukazek to Jit-Patan, searching out the Falanasi. And Akana is not just, looking for her tribe. She's also looking for her father. And they come across a guy named Joreb. And Joreb turns out to be Akana's father. Problem with that, Joreb, very rich guy, he goes to Akana and he goes, listen, I'm sure your mother was great, but I have fathered a lot of kids, and I have done a lot of drugs. Who are you again? Do you want some drugs? But when they first land on that planet, it is a Republic-controlled planet. There's a lot of people there, and Luke doesn't want to be recognized. So he uses the Force to project an image over himself of a slightly different looking man. And Akana starts talking about how these Force projections you can do. This is clearly a Falanasi trait. This is just more proof that you're a member of the Falanasi. And Luke starts talking about how he frequently does change his disguise using the Force. Sometimes he'll present himself as slightly different. Sometimes he'll present himself as an old man. Or sometimes he'll go into his sister's closet and present himself as an attractive young woman.
So what you're saying is that Luke Skywalker is a gender fluid crossdresser fueled by the Force.
Luke Skywalker uses the Force to make himself appear as an attractive young woman. Absolutely. Complete, non-binary, gender fluid, whatever you want to be. Dresses up as a woman and uses he doesn't need to go with makeup. He doesn't need any hormone replacement therapy. He doesn't need any of that. Doesn't need any laser hair removal, no waxing. Just puts up a Force visage, boom, instant AI filter. Instant little girl.
AI filter.
Gotta use the Force. Now you're a little girl. I don't want to say little girl, but you know what I mean.
That is just really using the Force for its fullest potential.
What else are you going to use the Force for? Levitate a pear across a table so you can seduce a senator?
Right? Anakin's levitating pears, and Luke is changing his entire gender.
Exactly. You do what you do, So to finish up Luke's story really quickly, or get close to the end, they eventually find the Falanasi in Jit-Patan. And Jit-Patan has been wiped out by the Avethans. And the only people left there is the Falanasi in one little colony. And the Falanasi, they're like, who the heck is Nashera? We don't know Nashera. And Luke convinced their leader to come help him with the Black Fleet Crisis. Now, shifting back to the Black Fleet Crisis, the war really starts when they attack another diplomatic vessel. There's a survey crew going through the Coronach cluster, and the Avethans just open fire, completely obliterate it. And then Nilspar sends out a transmission to the whole galaxy. He's all like, Leia is a war criminal, desperate for power, who sent an assassination shuttle into the Coronach cluster to come and attack Yvetha, and we will not stand for this. And he uses that justification to go out and start eradicating every single colony on every single planet in the Coronach cluster. And as he's doing this, he's like, this is self-defense. We have no choice. Now, there is one Imperial Aligned planet in there called Polnon, and one Imperial manages to survive. One guy escapes. His name is Platt Malar, and he spends 23 hours lost in space because he hops in a TIE fighter, and those don't have hyperspace. Those only have the sublight engines. He spends 23 hours, no food, no water, no bathroom, crying out for help before he finally drifts out of the Coronach cluster, and the Republic is able to pick him up. And Admiral Akbar takes him under his wing. He's like, look at this little boy. Look what he did. He survived. He was able to get us a flight recording. He was able to get all this information and show just how terrible all this is. And Admiral Akbar, he starts pulling all these strings. He is going to get Platt Malar the experience he needs behind X-Wing simulations, E-Wing simulations, all this stuff. And he's trying to get this guy fast-tracked into the battle as quickly as possible. And Leia is having the giant issue of dealing with what started as a negotiation has turned into a fallout war with people being killed, planets being destroyed, all these colonies are being set up, and there is a massive call for her removal. being led, of course, by Boris Karela, and they want her removed. There's a huge party that is trying to get her removed from the presidency. They're saying that she is leading us into this war, even though Nilspar is very clearly trying to start the war himself. Meanwhile, Nilspar actually has a spy inside of the Senate named Senator Orn. Do you remember Invader Zim?
Yes.
So do you remember how the tallest sent Zim to Earth as like a joke? And
Yes.
Zim would like call in and be like, I have made a monumental success. And it's fucking nothing. So Senator
Absolutely.
Orn is basically Invader Zim. And Nilspar and this dude named Darbile from Yavatha like occasionally get a report from him. And they're basically the tallest, looking down like, wait, this guy's still going? Senator Orn thinks he's going to get this custom ship. He's going to get transported off of Coruscant. He's going to get safe haven on Yavatha. And they're just like, dude, this guy's still here? What's he doing? So the big calls for Leia to step down come from after they have sent out a bunch of survey ships and most of them have been destroyed. Han gets abducted by Nilspar and they're like, okay, clearly Leia, you can't serve anymore. Now you have your personal interests of your husband. We can't trust you to make the right judgment. And that's basically how book 2 ends. And book 3 begins with Leia going, I have sacrificed so many people in the fight against the Empire. You think I wouldn't be able to sacrifice my own husband if it came to it? Screw you, screw you, screw you, screw you, screw you specifically. I'm staying as president. Also, all of these applications that we've been receiving, approved, 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 approved. I'm the goddamn president. I don't need to listen to you anymore. Approved. It's wild. I love how she takes control of the situation. And then she comes up with her own plan of how to free Han. Her plan's a little late in the action because Han gets very publicly beaten to a bloody pulp by Nilspar, who is very pissed that Leia is not backing down, just letting him have whatever he wants by divine rights. So she calls up Chewbacca, and Chewbacca doesn't answer because he is on the forest floor of Kashyyyk. And the forest floor of Kashyyyk in the Shadowlands is the most dangerous place to be. But Chewbacca's cousin does get the call. And Chewbacca's cousin goes down to the forest floor, and they have a quiet little discussion while a certain little lumpy Wookiee is having his test of manhood and failing extravagantly. So Lumpy's about to get attacked by a Katarn, which is a monster that he's supposed to be hunting. And Chewie just like grabs him by the scruff and says, you're failing as a hunter. We got more important stuff to do. They climb into the Falcon with, hold on, I got a list here, a couple other Wookiees, Jorl, Sharon, and Dryanta, and they go off to save Han. This is going to be Lumpy's test of manhood. It's decided that, Chewbacca is not a typical Wookiee. Neither will his son be. And Maul all like, no, you can't take Lumpy. You can't take Lumpy. And Chewie is, silence, woman. I'm taking my son. A little, what's the word I'm looking for?
Misogynist.
Thank you. Yes. A little misogynist, kind of very misogynist. Like, listen, woman, I'm taking our kid into battle. He's not good as a hunter. Maybe he'll succeed here. If not, he'll freaking learn by watching his father. They sneak in aboard Pride of Yavatha, or Yavatha's Pride. I can't remember the exact name of the ship, but Nilspar's flagship. And they sneak in a way that is very Han, like exiting lightspeed and immediately attaching to the hull. They exit lightspeed, and then they shoot a missile that distracts them. And then they sneak underneath the hull and cut their way into the ship so that they don't know there's a ship there. And then 3 of the Wookiees, I want to say Shorin, Lumpy, and Chewie, just start going crazy throughout the ship, shooting everything that moves, ripping Yavathans apart. Shorin does get shot and killed, but they're able to rescue Han. Lumpy gets shot in the leg. Lumpy doesn't get shot in the leg. Lumpy gets sliced in the leg. Because again, these Yavathans, they have these retractable claws and blades in their body. But they massacre the whole ship, with Nilspar having no idea what is going on. And they rescue Han, and in there is a woman with all the hostages. And her name is Inara. And she is actually a member of the Falanasi from Jit Patan that they took hostage. By the way, when they're destroying all of these colonies, they aren't just killing everyone. They're taking hostages to put on their flagships so that the Republic won't destroy the flagships. Brutal, but they evacuate all the hostages, and Anara stays behind as a Falinasi because, as I mentioned earlier, they have the powers of projecting images. She is projecting Han is still in the hostage hold. She is projecting all the hostages, breathing, walking around, crying, sobbing. And when the flagship destroys, she knows she's going down with it, but she stays behind just to protect everyone. It made me cry. It really pulled at my heartstrings.
Aw.
Yeah. However, that power of projection is how they win the day. Because, as I mentioned, Norika, after Luke finds her, who is the leader of the Falinasi, and Akana, they come back to the Fifth Fleet. They join the Republic. And they're like, we don't want to help. We can't kill. That's not our thing. And Luke's like, listen, I understand that. You've been bugging me this whole thing about me carrying my lightsaber around like it's some great atrocity that I do that. But we're at the point where if you don't help us, your planet, your people will all be destroyed. So they come up with this plan that they are going to visually project all these ships. They are going to increase the size of the Republic Navy by pure projection of force images. And it even does mess with the radar. And General Riken, you remember General Riken from Return of the Jedi?
Yes.
He's all like, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if this is going to work. Looks out his window. Crap, this might work. And they launch this massive assault on the heart of the Yvethan Navy. And the Yvethans are absolutely overwhelmed. They can't imagine how the Republic got this many ships. I forgot to mention that the Yvethan Navy is mostly Imperial ships that they've taken from the former Imperial occupation of their world. And they have a bunch of Imperial prisoners, like Grand Moff, stormtroopers, yada yada. Most of them have, but there's a small resistance group who actually helps take out the ships at a crucial moment in battle and then make their own escape to avoid Republic capture. But during the battle, there is an E-Wing pilot. You might recognize an E-Wing from the Ahsoka show when they go chasing down Sabine on Lothal. Those two pilots are flying E-Wings.
Okay, yeah.
So that was their first live action appearance, but they've been around in Star Wars for a very long time.
For
And
decades.
for decades. And I really loved seeing those E-Wings in live action. But there is an E-Wing pilot named Dogo.
Dogo.
Dogo. And I was laughing because there is a scientist investigating a planet linked to the Lando storyline named Johto Eccles. And then there's another guy randomly named Togo. And I'm like, at what point did the author,
Just
Michael
run out of
P.
names?
Kube-McDowell, just go, all right, we need Johto, Togo, Dogo. No.
Someone ran out of names and just forgot to replace the filler names.
What really upsets me is that Dogo never meets Johto or Togo. And Dogo is only there for like a total of half a page. He flies in, he blows some stuff, he flies out. I'm like, no, I want a continuation of Dogo's story. You can't give me a pilot named Dogo and then not let me know if he lives or not.
It's funny.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
So
No.
one thing that we have been talking about on Muscle Books podcast a lot lately is how books are political. And there's always been this conversation via the internet of the internet worlds the last couple years, really, about Star Wars being political, as so many people apparently didn't notice that. So
Don't know how you missed that. George Lucas was like, oh yeah, the rebels, they're the Viet Cong.
yes. However, this also does extend to the legends or the literary universe of Star Wars. And the Black Fleet Crisis serves as commentary on the Israel-Palestine conflict.
It absolutely does. This was written at a time where the Israel-Palestine conflict had already been going on for, 45 years, somewhere around there, where Israel was already been bombing hospitals for a long time, had been attacking Lebanon, had been obviously they're been invading the West Bank and Gaza for a long time, constantly starting stuff with Egypt and with Syria because they claim it's their divine rights. You know, God gave them that land. Even Ronald Reagan called Israel's carpet bombing of Lebanon a Holocaust. Very publicly, very loudly told the Prime Minister of Israel, what you're doing is a Holocaust. Stop it now. And the bomb stopped dropping 10 minutes later, and Ronald Reagan was like, I didn't realize I had that power. And having that much power actually shook Ronald Reagan to the core when he realized just how much there was there. But Israel had been, doing this assault for generations at this point already. And this really reads just like that. And it's so much more relevant today because Niels Bohr is saying all of this is ours by divine right. And he has that authority by divine right to slaughter all these people. And he comes up with these fake excuses. It was a threat. We were under attack. It was a survey team. It was a diplomatic team. But he was under attack. And it gave him the divine right to do this. And Leia, she gives this whole speech to the Senate, to Niels Bohr, to the galaxy. You can't just claim that something is yours when it belongs to these other people for generations. They have lived there, they have built families there. You can't just carpet bomb them and claim it as your own. That really pissed off Niels Bohr. But it's very much what we're looking at right now and have been looking at for years. A lot of people think, this current conflict started on October 7th. 2020, but it's been going on for a long, long time. I remember I first got involved in the Israel-Palestine debate, conflict, whatever, back in, I want to say about 2015, when they assassinated a nurse named Razan al-Najjar. She was helping protesters in the West Bank who had been shot by Israel, stopping the bleeding, whatnot. She was very much growing in popularity as a symbol of resistance and as a symbol of hope. CNN had just done an interview with her. It had not yet even aired, and Israel did not like this. So they had an American who moved to Israel because, it's his divine right as a Zionist, and he was instructed to take her out, and he did. First, they shot a man, and she rushed to his aid. And as she was kneeling down, giving him help, they shot her right through the medic vest, right through her heart, killing her on the spot. That's when I first learned about this conflict. I started doing my research. I saw some more horrendous videos that you can't even find on the internet anymore, but it was just horrible. And I started getting really involved in this, always calling representatives and senators. 3 representatives we've gone through since I've got involved in this. But you're looking at this book and the exact justification that Niels Bohr uses to justify slaughtering all these people is the same excuses used by the Israeli government to justify slaughter, has been using to justify slaughter for generations, and is continuing to do now.
The Black Fleet Crisis is considered to be one of the most political trilogies within all of Star Wars, from canon to Legends. And the parallels are still there today, a couple decades later. Perhaps even more noticeable now today, as we do have many more people paying attention to what is going on with Israel and Gaza. So I want to thank you, Tyler, also known as Blue Milk Drinker, for joining me on Must Love Books podcast today to celebrate Life Day. And we're going to go have some hot cider and some treats and celebrate our own Life Day. And with that, thank you.
Thank you everyone for listening. This has been Must Love Books. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon under @MustLoveBooksPodcast. Thank you and happy reading.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.